Okay,
This
one second.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, and so now, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Lilly Cadoch. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Tony, for having me. I'm so happy to be here and share what we've been doing in the kitchen. I know it's definitely been a hard time for all of us. First I want to thank all of the healthcare workers, the people at the grocery stores, people delivering, janitors, everyone that are risking their lives day in and day out. We're doing our part by staying home, staying safe, and I know that it's even tough to do that. And we're probably cooking more than we ever have before, cleaning more than we ever wanted to, juggling, working from home, online school with the kids. So there's definitely a lot going on. So what I wanted to share today are just a few easy, quick, healthy recipes that you could add to your rotation. And the focus here is using a lot of the pantry items or things that are easy to get in the grocery stores these days. So without further ado, let's start cooking. So the first recipe that I want to make is I would say semi-homemade, because you're using soup that you got at the grocery store. So you're either using let's go with tomato for one. So it's either like Campbell's tomato or Trader Joe's organic creamy tomato, or any kind of soup that you have on hand that you want to make a little healthier, a little more interesting. And we're doing this by just literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ingredients. I mean, this is so easy, quick, and definitely amps up any soup. So what I'm going to do first is turn the heat on to medium high. Add a little bit of olive oil into the pan. I'm going to be doing the creamy tomato soup because my kids definitely love that. But any kind of soup that you have on hand that you like and you just want to jazz up, make a little healthier, add a little different varieties. Basically, you could change up whatever I have here. What I'll be doing is, first start with dicing an onion and sauteing that. That adds a ton of flavor, and onions actually have a lot of antibacterial and antiviral properties. So definitely a good thing to stock up on during this time. So let me put that on high. So as we wait for this to warm up a little, let me just tell you what I have here that I'll be adding. This is just frozen vegetables with peas, carrots, green beans, and corn. You could add any frozen vegetables that you have in your freezer, anything that you prefer. So this is a half a cup of frozen vegetables. And then this is 2 cups of fresh broccoli. So it's a little combination of semi-homemade, frozen, a little fresh. If you didn't have any fresh, use more frozen. There's nothing wrong with that. Any questions so far as the onion is sauteing for a little bit before I add the veggies?
None yet.
Okay, cool. Another thing that I've added to different soups are if you add just 1 potato and kind of mash it and add it into the soup, it kind of thickens it up and gives it a heartier taste. So that's another option that you could do. That's an easy thing. You could buy a big bag of potatoes and those last a while. Another thing that I've added to these kinds of soups are beans. So even with creamy tomato soup, I could add just maybe a cup of white cannelli beans, and that actually would add a little bit of protein and fiber to the soup as well. So really there's so many different options and varieties to this, and really I would say the formula is sauteed onion. See what combination of frozen and or fresh veggies that you want to add to it, and then add the soup that you have on hand. And then if you do have any kind of like cheese or anything, like right here, what I have here is 2 tablespoons of feta cheese that I'm gonna just top it with when it's ready. So now that the onions are pretty sauteed, I'm gonna add the broccoli. That for a little bit. We add the frozen vegetables. And then you can lower the heat a little bit to like medium low. Give this a little shake. I'm going to add the soup. So then this is going to simmer on like medium low until the vegetables, until really the broccoli, because everything else is pretty soft, until the broccoli is soft, probably like 30 minutes. And then you have like a soup that you can eat that's healthy and so easy to make. I mean, was that even 5 minutes? I don't even know. That was quick. So I'm going to cover this and give it a little stir. So you can see here the veggies are covered by the soup. Have that on like medium, cover, and let it cook. Any questions on the soup before we move on to the next item?
Question we have is, can butternut squash soup be substituted for the tomato soup?
Yes, definitely. Any soup that you like could be used for this recipe. I've used butternut squash soup, carrot ginger soup, tomato soup. Basically, any soups that you have on hand can be used for this. And again, the formula is always start with onion. You could actually add a little garlic too if you wanted to. That also has a lot of great antibacterial and antiviral properties. If you guys like garlic, any combination of frozen and fresh vegetables that you have on hand. And then basically put on simmer until the vegetables are soft, and then top with anything. You could top with cheese, you could top with some croutons, some nuts, some garnish. Really, the combinations are endless.
Great. Natalie asked, do you add any spices or is the tomato soup seasoned?
That's the great thing about this is the tomato soup is seasoned. So I don't have to add any spices to this. You could, once you taste it, if you want to add a little more salt, pepper, add your own different season combinations that you like, you could definitely do that. But it's not required because you're using a base that is pre-seasoned. But great question.
Okay.
Okay, great. Now we'll be moving to, if we want to move here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you use the unsalted?
Yes. The unsalted soup?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Most of us are seniors and we have to control our salt, and the soup's so high in salt.
Yes, no, I would definitely recommend the low sodium option then. And you can definitely do the same, add the same recipe ingredients for that as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
How many
Okay, great. So the next
how
recipe.
many containers of soup do you use?
So I used just 1 container of soup, which is for like 4 people.
Okay.
But you could just, add, to the family, to the size that you need, and then you could always make more and have leftovers.
Okay, I just want to remind everybody as we go forward, if you could use the chat function, if you can. If you're calling in, I understand that you can't, but try to keep your microphones muted. And if you could just like type it in the chat, this way we're not interrupting Lily as she goes forward. But Lil, this is great. Go keep on going.
Great.
And thank you, everybody. Those were great questions.
Yes. So the next thing The next thing we'll be making is this pasta sausage bake one pot dish that I will actually be eating tonight. And I'm showing it to you guys right now. So what I have here is a pound of chicken sausage that I removed the casing of because I'm gonna cook it like it's ground chicken or ground beef, ground turkey. You can use any ground, poultry or beef, turkey, whatever that you prefer. I'm using sausage because sausage has some different flavor combinations and it just adds that extra something to this dish. So I have a pound of that. I have 8 ounces of pasta here. I have a handful of baby spinach and 4 mushrooms. And then I have a cup and a half of mozzarella cheese. This is a vegan variety, but you can use, regular cheese or any kind of other, any cheese that you prefer. And then this is where the semi-homemade comes in. You use like pre-pantry item, because I'm sure we all have pasta sauce in our pantry. And I love Rao's. So this is the one that I'll be using. So this is also a really quick way to get dinner on the table. So if we're coming over here, this is the big, the big pan that we'll be using for this. Let me add a little bit of olive oil. And then basically what you're gonna wanna do is add the sausage. This is like an Italian chicken sausage. Just put this in there.
Lily, which Rao's do you use?
This is marinara, but I also really like the vodka sauce as well.
Okay, can you have the vodka without the sauce?
Yeah. Great question.
And Natalie would like to know, would veggie sausage work for those who are vegetarian?
Yes, that actually would, and I have some plant-based sausage in my freezer as well that I'll be making this with at a later date. So definitely this is another very flexible meal where I would say the formula is any kind of sausage or ground plant-based or beef, turkey, chicken of your choice. And then it's simple to add the rest of these ingredients. And then literally you put it in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes and it's ready. So now that it's finally heated up, so I'm just starting to break it apart here. And it's too bad there's no taste or smell feature on this phone because you guys would be enjoying what I'm enjoying right now.
Natalie says she has a 3-year-old who is nonstop. Will you deliver this meal to her?
Oh. And let me just go back to the soup. Give that a little stir. Close that back up. And I only figured out recently how to easily remove the casing without destroying the whole sausage. If you just run the sausage over hot water for just maybe 10, 20 seconds. And then you can just cut it and take it off. And it even still holds the form. When I used to try to do it, it would make a whole big mess of things. So that's just a good tip. If you have a sausage that's sturdy enough, this one was more of a soft one, so I couldn't cube it and then saute it, or it would also kind of fall apart. But if you have a sausage that's semi-frozen or a little hardier, you can first slice it up and then kind of just brown it the same way as I'm doing here. So there's different ways to make this. It'll all taste the same.
Can we also do this with ground meat or ground turkey?
Yes, I've made it with both, and it's very good. I recently tried it with sausage. The sausage is usually like you can get sausage that's flavored. This has like spinach and Italian seasoning, so it just adds a little more flavor. But I've made it with ground turkey, ground chicken, ground beef. You can make it with anything. The vegan variety that I like is the Beyond Meat. That's my preference if you're going plant-based. Okay, so it looks like this is pretty much all cooked. Lower the heat now. Give the soup another little stir. So now that that's cooked, I just removed it a little bit from the heat as I chop the veggies that I'm going to add to it. So I try to chop these as fine as possible, just so that the kids can't detect big chunks of veggies. You could also blend it into the sauce if you have, kids that don't want any vegetables and anything. This was like a step one in my health journey with my kids, is like at first spinach, if they saw it, they didn't want anything to do with it. And I would then first hide it in smoothies, blend it, where if you blend it in certain smoothies, the smoothie doesn't even turn green. But now if I just chop it really fine, they don't mind it. And it's a way to get vegetables into the meal. Same thing, you could add any vegetables here that you like and that you have in the fridge. I've used, olives before. Peppers. Basically, this is another thing where like whatever you have on hand, since we know groceries are a little harder to come by these days. So this is basically diced, it's pretty small. And then the same with the spinach. See here, I have like a handful of spinach. And I'm just gonna kind of group up like that. And just cut into like fine kind of slivers. Okay. So now let me actually. So I'm going to add the veggies into the dish. And give it another stir. You could, I don't know if you guys noticed, I have a little, aluminum foil on this handle. It's because this is going to be going into the oven for 10 minutes. And this kind of, I'm not sure if this would get damaged or not in the oven. So it's always good to just protect it that way. Giving another stir of the soup. So keep going back to it. Make sure there's no sticky at the bottom. Keeping it on low. Okay. So back to this. So basically sauteing this until the spinach wilts.
While you're doing that, we've got a bunch of comments that this looks delicious, and somebody really likes your, and Jeff says your cabinets and countertop are wonderful. Looks like a lot of storage.
Thank you.
And kudos to your camera person also.
Yes, my husband, also a professional filmmaker, is definitely doing a great job. So you see here, like the spinach is like almost fully wilted. Let's give it like another few seconds. And it's not even that much.
I'm sorry to disturb you, but you mentioned putting it in the oven.
Yeah.
What if the pan itself cannot, I'm not sure if my pan can go in the oven that I'm going to cook. Just transfer it to another pan?
Yeah, exactly. You can transfer it to like a different casserole dish that is able to go to a pan and cook it the same way on 350 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes until the cheese melts. So yes, very good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now that this is wilted, I'm going to add the sauce. Start with like, I would say maybe like 20 ounces of sauce, like most of that. And just kind of mix it in. And if we have to add more sauce, you could add more sauce. It depends how much sauce you like in your pasta dishes. Also, when you put it in the oven, it could dry up a little bit, so you want to add a little more than you think you'll need, just so it doesn't like dry up. So now that you added this, now let me add the pasta. So this is ziti. You can also use penne or any other kind of pasta that you like. This is kind of actually, let me use this in my hands a little bit. What?
Is it pre-cooked?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is 8 ounces. Good question. This is 8 ounces of pre-cooked pasta that I made beforehand so that we can make the best use of time. So it's a little sticking right now versus when I make it, I just throw it in, but then you just kind of have to break it apart.
So you would normally use this fresh as you cooked it, correct?
Exactly. So it wouldn't be like as stuck like this, but that's fine. You can just spread it apart with your hands after you thoroughly wash them, of course.
Sure. Dahlia also wants to know, can you freeze the leftover soup?
Yeah, you can definitely freeze the leftover soup. And I think it's good in the freezer maybe for like a month.
Okay.
So you definitely have that option there too. So let me just kind of mix this all together, and if I need more sauce, I'll add more sauce. Let's see. So yeah, I've made this with penne and ziti are my usual go-tos for this, but I would think that you could try a bunch of different kind of types of pasta in this too, depending on, again, what you have in your pantry. Okay. Smells so good. Okay, so you see how that's like mixed in thoroughly, plus there's like some extra sauce there. This is like the amount that you want. And then the last step, now that this is
I hate to say this, but I could eat it just like this.
yeah, you can. You can totally eat it like this. You totally can eat it like this. And if you don't have if you don't have cheese, or if you prefer non-dairy cheese and you don't have that on hand, you could totally eat it like this. If you have an extra 10 minutes and you want to add a little, do something a little different, then you make it, into a bake. So I'm just kind of like spreading. And the vegan cheese that I like that I've seen that melts well is D-A-I-Y-A. I don't even know how to pronounce D-I-A. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've seen that in like the regular grocery stores, or regular cheese, like whatever you guys want. So you kind of just, and this is a cup of cheese, so it's not a ton for for this amount of pasta, so that, you know, keeps it a little healthier. And now I'm going to put this in the oven.
Just want to remind everybody to use the chat function, please, and we'll open it up for questions afterwards, but you can throw the stuff in the chat function. And Lily, I gotta tell you, one after another, this looks amazing, seems to be the main comment.
Thank you. Going back to the soup. Let's see how that's going. Just test out, it's basically test out to see if like the broccoli. Yeah, this is pretty soft. No, it's ready. The soup is ready. How long was that? How long have we been on, Tony, that the soup is ready?
We've been on about a half an hour.
Yeah, so from start to finish, the soup is ready. Let me just show you how I would. You see here, you see the broccoli, the carrot, peas, corn.
I've added chicken to this recipe too.
Yeah, that would be good too. That would make it like a one-stop meal. Beans could be added. So there's the soup. Garnish a little feta cheese on top. My husband likes a lot of feta cheese, so I'll put a lot for him. This will be his bowl afterwards. Okay, so there we go with the soup. Okay. So now let's look at, let me just throw this out.
Please keep your mics muted, please, everybody, because otherwise we're going to get a lot of cross talk and a lot of cross background noise. Thank you.
So now I'm going to be making 2 quick lunch items that we've been eating a lot with pantry dishes. I mean, pantry items that you probably have. One being tuna salad. And these are all the ingredients related to that I'll be going through. And then another dish that we've been eating a lot, also using a pantry item that is readily available, is a quinoa salad. And again, it's using the pantry items, but then adding some healthy ingredients to it to make it healthier and more filling. So let's start with tuna first. So what I have here is 1 can of tuna, and any kind of tuna is fine. This is the yellowfin tuna in oil. I've also bought the yellowfin in water, white albacore. You could use salmon, the canned salmon for this as well. So really, again, either chicken salad, you can make this combination with. So if you see here, this is a tablespoon of red onion, and you see this liquid. This is in red wine vinegar, a little bit of salt, and like a dash of sugar, and that's pickling this onion, and that takes this tuna salad, I'm telling you, to like a new level. Then we have 1/8 of a cup of almonds that I roasted in the toaster, but you have to watch it because it'll burn really quickly. And then 1/3 of a cup of celery, which could be like 1 or 2 stalks, depending on the size. And then a tablespoon of chopped dill. And then you could also add, if you wanted, mayo and mustard. So what you,
Excuse me, Lily, can we use, if somebody's egg free, can they use olive oil or
I don't know how to put it back
bacon
on.
eggs?
yeah, and this one has olive oil in it, this tuna. So I'm not going to be using mayo in this one, but if this had water, I would use mayo. So yeah, you definitely don't need to use mayo for this recipe. If you don't, I would recommend getting tuna in olive oil. The one step that you want to do here, because I'm not going to put the vinegar and everything in here, is remove the liquid. So I just have this little thing here that I'm going to attempt to remove it without making a mess, which I am, but that's okay. So I'm basically like diluting it. So you see here, it's just the onion. Just like that. So you just basically add all the ingredients. So now that this is diluted, I mean, if you leave a couple drops in there, it's fine. And then again, I'll be putting all of these. This is also being recorded, but I'm also going to be putting together kind of a newsletter that has all these recipes with all the exact proportions and everything. So if you go to my website, busymomscheatsheet.com, and sign up for a newsletter, this will be coming tomorrow with all the proportions. And then this is also going to be recorded and available through the library.
Lily, Donna wants to know, what other crunchy vegetables would work other than celery if we don't have that in our fridge right now?
Cucumber would work. Maybe if you have jicama, even though if you don't have celery, you probably don't have jicama, are the two that I could think of. I think cucumber, or if you don't, or carrots. I've used carrots in tuna salad as well. So anything that you have that you like the flavor of, you can basically add to this. And then let me add a teaspoon of mustard. And just kind of mix it all up. And you could serve these with, like, if you have crackers on hand, because I know we've been all stocking up on those types of things. This is great with crackers. We're gonna put on a sandwich, over a salad, any kind of combination. And if you want also, if this was tuna in water, I'd be adding a tablespoon of mayo to this. And then I'm just gonna be adding like a little bit of salt to taste, but definitely optional. Okay. So this has also been one that's been like a staple, and the pickling flavor of the red onion with the crunchiness of the celery and the almonds, this combination is just literally, this tastes like gourmet. So you'll definitely be stepping it up at home if you make this tuna salad. You'll wonder where this came from. It was actually inspired by a restaurant that we went to in Cayman Islands like a year ago. So I kind of recreated it and then added extra little things to it. This is the tuna salad.
That is awesome. Lily, we had a couple things. Red or orange peppers would be nice too, Jeff said. And it would give
Oh,
it a-
yeah.
And Donna wanted to know, can you pickle in any kind of vinegar?
Yes, you can pickle in any kind of vinegar. The most common ones I've seen so far are the red wine vinegar, which is what I use. But
Coming in all the time.
is fine, and apple cider vinegar is good too.
Okay, great. And just want to remind everybody to, if you can throw, you know what, I'm gonna unmute everybody right now, Lily, before you go into the next one, so that if anybody has any questions, they can ask them. And then I'm gonna mute everybody again so that this way we don't have any feedback. So everybody should be unmuted now. Does anybody have any questions for Lily?
I just one question. I have added a hard-boiled egg to that also.
Yes, yes, and I've done that before too, and that's great, and that adds even more protein. So I think that's a great suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and let me show you guys the pasta because it's already ready.
One second, Lily. For some reason you muted and I can't get you unmuted. Lily, I apologize. You're gonna have to unmute yourself on your end.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm going to be taking out the pasta bake, and that's already ready. See how good that looks?
Wow.
That's up my alley.
So if you see here, the soup and the pasta are already made, and we haven't even been talking for an hour yet.
That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Our director, Chris Mara, said they all looked so delicious. She thanks you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Does anybody have a,
Any other questions before we go to the quinoa?
Do you have curbside pickup?
Do you,
One day I just may.
how long did you bake the sauce in the baker? How long was it? 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
And 350?
Yes, 10 minutes at 350.
And
But you
what
could
is
just
the book? That book, I wanted the website for that book. I can't see it.
it's in the chat section. I'll give it to you
Oh, hold
again. Michael found it right away. Lily, you want to just give it again?
Yeah, Busy Mom's Cheat Sheet. Yeah, I have 50 recipes in this book, as well
Busy
as my
Mom's
cheat
what?
sheet for eating healthy.
It's busymomscheatsheet.com.
Cheat sheet?
Cheat sheet.
Oh, cheat.
Yes.
Cheat sheet. Okay.
You could subscribe with your email.
Yes, exactly. And then I'll be sending out all of these recipes with the exact proportions tomorrow. All right, so now for the quinoa salad, another thing that we have on hand that's easy to make. This is another thing that takes like 5 minutes. So what I have here is 2 cups of cooked quinoa, and you could just make this according to the package directions. So that's, we won't go into that right here. Then what we have here is we have 1/3 cup of diced peppers, orange and yellow, 1/3 cup of canned corn, and 1/3 cup of carrots. So all of this is cut up really small so it like fits the proportion of the actual salad. Then what I have here is, this is, if you get anything from this whole session, this is a huge tip, is if you just combine olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, the olive oil and lemon juice in equal proportions, and then just add a couple cloves of garlic, salt and pepper, let it marinate. This is amazing in all kinds of salads. And then right here, what I have to add some green to this is 2 tablespoons of cilantro. You could also use parsley or any other herb that you like. So what I'll be doing is just combining and mixing. I mean, it doesn't get easier than that. So adding that. So first mixing it up dry, just to make sure it all kind of combines. Look at how pretty that is. You can also use tomatoes in here, cucumber, basically any vegetables, again, that you enjoy, that you have on hand, you can add to this quinoa salad. Any kind of salad you like, add to it. So what I'm gonna, yep.
Is there any way, any kind of suggestion for not using olive oil? One of our affiliates says his dad has to stay away from oils.
You could, if you can't use oil, you could just use lemon juice, salt, and pepper. You don't need to use oil. It'll still taste really good if you want to stay away from oils. So I'm adding 1/4 cup. So if you're just using lemon juice, half this amount. So use like 1/8 cup of lemon juice. This is 1/4 cup of the combination of olive oil and lemon juice. Just kind of like spread it around. Add a little bit of salt, which of course is optional. And then just kind of mix it up. And that's as easy as that one. Any questions on that one?
Can you use orzo instead of quinoa?
Yeah, you could use orzo. You could use even like a brown rice salad. This can be
Okay.
made with a pasta salad. For any grain that you have on hand, you could do the same kind of recipe. I like quinoa because it also has protein as well as carbs. So it's just like a healthier grain to eat, but you could basically do this with any kind of grain.
Problem is, we don't have all these ingredients in the house and we can't go shopping.
I know, and that's why this is easily done with any grain. White rice, brown rice, orzo, anything you have.
Okay.
Just like this.
Bravo, bravo. Oh my God, everything looks so good. Thank you so much, Lily.
You're
Everything looks
welcome.
so good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then if we have just a few more minutes, I could show you a snack that I make. We're not going to see it being ready because it takes 45 minutes to an hour, but that's why I made it in advance yesterday. I don't know about you, but our house is filled with pantry snacks and the kids are eating that more than we would all like. So to kind of balance it out, I also try to make some healthy snacks in between, even though I have to say like the bar is lowered with like some of the snacks that I've allowed because this is just the time we're in. But so I could show you quickly how to assemble this. And again, the full recipe will be in the newsletter. But what I do is you take a can of garbanzo beans. And once you figure out the flavor profile you like, you'll probably want to make at least 2-3 cans at a time. Because if you see here, this is the amount that 1 can makes. These 2, maybe a little more, we had some. But what you do is you take it out of the can, you rinse it very well with water, and then you dry it on a towel. And you could just kind of like pat dry it. It's been drying for like an hour now, so we should be good. Then what you do is, let me just clear a little here for a second. Okay.
Somebody asked, do you have to skin the chickpeas?
That's a good question. If you skin them, it'll make them extra crispy, but it's not required. So if some that are like kind of hanging off that are easy to remove, I'll just kind of like remove them. But it's not required. It depends on how crispy you want these chickpeas. So what I'm going to be showing you is two types. One is more of like a savory, salty version using 2 basic ingredients: olive oil and taco seasoning. And if you can't use olive oil, that's fine. Just use a little taco seasoning. And another one that is using maple syrup, cinnamon, and a little bit of salt and sugar. So I divided this can, basically eyeballed it in half, and I have two bowls here. See, and as you even add it, some of the skins just naturally come off, and then you could just remove them. So this is also something that takes like 5-10 minutes to just get in the oven. And then in the oven, it's like between 45 minutes to an hour on 375. And best thing to do is if you can like give it a shake every 10 minutes just to make sure nothing burns. So the first one, the taco seasoning. It's 1 teaspoon of taco seasoning. And this is any kind of seasoning mix you have on hand. Leave that here. And then I'm putting half of a tablespoon of oil. So basically you need 1 tablespoon of oil for 1 can. But since I split it up into 2 different things just to show you 2 kind of combinations, I'm using half of a tablespoon. Otherwise, it would just be 1 tablespoon for 1 can. So that's that one. Moving on to this one. Half of a tablespoon of oil. And garbanzo beans have a lot of fiber, a lot of protein, so it's definitely a healthier option than the chips and other things. So I'm adding a half of a tablespoon of maple syrup. I'm just gonna add a little dash of sugar because my kids like it extra sweet, but you don't need to do that, especially if those of us trying to like minimize on the sugar. This is just literally a teaspoon. And then just, even though this is sweet, I'm still adding a little bit of salt just to like bring out the sweetness. And I'm gonna add that actually to both. Okay. Oh, and then I almost forgot, a dash of ground cinnamon. So now that these are both, mix it all together. And now what you do is you take a cookie sheet, line it with parchment paper, or if you don't have that, foil, kind of grease it. I'm gonna put half of it on this side, just kind of like flattening it so it's, they each have their space to get crispy. And then do the same for this one. And then again, you put this in the oven, 375, between 45 to 60 minutes, depends on your oven. So take a look at it like every 10 minutes and give it a little shake. Sticking that in. If you want to see how the ready ones again look, since we will not have that time together.
Lily, question, we don't have taco seasoning. Would everything bagel seasoning or chili powder work?
Oh yeah, that would work great. I've also tried it with like some cumin, paprika, curry powder, any kind of seasonings that you like. Try it on a garbanzo bean and roast it, and it'll just like take it up a notch. So let's put these, all the ready things here together. So we basically made 2 kinds of roasted chickpeas, a tuna salad, quinoa salad, and an amped up tomato soup using pantry soup that you have on hand, and this very easy chicken sausage bake. I didn't even know we'd get through all of these in an hour, but we did.
Absolutely wonderful. Lily, I want to thank you very much. Well, first of all, does anybody have any other questions before we close? All right, I want to remind everybody that Lily's book is Busy Mom's Cheat Sheet.
One question. How long did we bake the beans in the oven again?
Between 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on your oven. So you could just check on it every 10 minutes, give it a little shake, and then you could just taste it after like 40 minutes and see. It depends on how crispy you want them.
Okay, so anybody else? All right, I want to remind everybody that that Lily's book is available. Her website is busymomscheatsheet.com. busymomscheatsheet.com. This entire presentation is being recorded and will be on our YouTube channel. And if you don't know, the Oceanside Library has a YouTube channel. You should. We have a lot of fun things on there, including a lot of instructional videos on how to use various things around the library and our online resources. So Lily, thank you very, very much. We really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys, got a little inspired to make some new things. You can also follow me on Instagram on Busy Mom's Cheat Sheet. And I'll be again sending out all of these recipes with all the proportions tomorrow. So if you want to sign up for a newsletter on busymomscheatsheet.com.
Will you be on again?
What was that?
Will you be on again?
I hope so. I hope so. If Tony has me, I will come on as much as you guys want. There's a lot.
Thank you very much. The best, the best, the best. Thank you.
Great. Yes, I hope to be back soon, and I'll have a whole new set of things to make.
That's great. Thank you, Lily. Everybody have a great day.
Bravo.
Excellent,
Thank you.
excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Martin Brownstein, Closure of Gates.
No, it's my, Mrs. Braunstein. This is Sylvia Braunstein.
Okay.